So Rachel is with Covenant, and she's one of our architects in the modern work area. And for this session, she's going to be digging into some of the AI capabilities of apps. So a little bit about Covenant Technology Partners. We've been around for a few decades at least, been a Microsoft partner the whole time. Our main goal is to listen to our clients' issues or potential new clients' issues and problems they're having, and trying to help them align what technologies we can best implement to actually solve those problems. And so with that, we basically implement everything across the board when it comes to Microsoft and solutions. And obviously anymore, everything's pretty much cloud ready is what we're trying to do. And that includes even getting your data ready specifically with all the latest features and AI technologies that Microsoft has been putting out with Copilot and AI Factory. And like today, how can we tie AI into our apps? We like to try to help our clients navigate what the possibilities are. So if you want to flip through the next couple, yeah, go ahead and flip through that one, Rachel. And then the other thing we do try to help our clients navigate, because it is definitely a challenge anymore, is the licensing around those different solutions. That can, with the changes Microsoft seems to like to make, especially anything related to Power Platform, having a partner to help you navigate that is definitely ideal, and we like to help our clients with that too. So Rachel, I think with that, I'm going to pass it over to you. And if you need anything else, definitely ping me. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt. Okay, so today we only have an hour. We don't have a lot of time, but what we're going to do is I'll do a quick introduction to myself and what I do, and then Matt just did a little bit about Covenant and who we are. Then we're going to look at kind of AI Builder and the capabilities. We're going to keep it really high level, so we're not getting too technical. This is basically an introduction into AI Builder and what it does. Then we'll do a quick demo. So we'll build something soup to nuts so you can kind of see the process. And then discussions, questions, and next steps. So with that, we'll dive in. So a little bit about me. I've been with Covenant for about 4 years, primarily in the Power Platform space and anything under that umbrella. So we've been building a lot of agents lately. And really been helping a lot of clients with governance lately, if that's something you're having an issue with. And then these are my 2 dogs, Itchy and Peach. I always like to put them in there because if you hear them bark, then maybe you'll be a little bit more forgiving. So with that, let's get into it. So AI Builder, I kind of think is one of the unsung heroes of the Power Platform. It's been around for a while, but it's not utilized as much as I think it could be. So essentially what that does is you can use it for document processing, image processing, text processing, and prompts now is kind of the newer one. So what we're going to look at today is actually a quick demonstration of document processing. So kind of holistically, here's some of the things that you can do. So you can see under document processing, we have invoice processing, which we'll take a look at today a little bit, receipts, text recognitions, business card readers, and then under image processing, you have an image description, object detection. So a good example of that one could be, let's say you're at a work site and you want to take a look at what safety protocols are there. You can train it to look at safety cones, those kinds of things. Prompts, so you can summarize text, draft replies, classify text, extract text, text processing, sentiment analysis, category classification, entity extraction, and then structured data processing, you can do prediction models. So there's really a lot that you can do with it. And you can also customize models if you have a particular use case. We've had a client in the past who had some really unstructured documents that we had to do some kind of custom coding, but we were able to get there and help them achieve what they were trying to do. And real quick, so we'll save questions. If you have a question, please feel free to pop it in the chat, and then we'll get to it at like a natural break or at the end. So capabilities, so we have prediction, category classification, entity extraction, object detection, and document processing. So I think document processing is really the bread and butter of AI Builder, and it's what we're going to be looking at today. So again, we're keeping this very high level. So the high level steps is you're going to choose your model type, you're going to connect your data, tailor your model, train your model, and then you're going to be able to use the insights from that. So really what that means is you train your model, and then based on, you know, the percentage accuracy score that's you're given, you could add additional documents, do additional training to kind of help get it to where you need it to be. So some of the pre-built models that are available, I like to point these out because, you know, if you have a particular use case, this could be something that could help get you up and running fairly quickly. So invoice processing, text recognition, receipt processing. If you're, you know, one of those folks who has to submit their receipts monthly, this could save you a lot of time. Identity document reader, so, you know, passports, IDs, those kinds of things, business card reader. And then there's two in preview, and I make sure to call out that it's in preview. And so that's the health insurance card and contract processing. So those are kind of pre-built models that are kind of ready to set to go. Some of them you can customize, some of them you can't, depending. And some of the stuff that we'll send after this, we'll send that one slide that I had previously that had all of the, here, let me just go back real quick. All of these, and then down in the corner you can see which ones, so pre-built but not customizable model, if you're interested in those. But yes, so and then some pre-built models for text, sentiment analysis. So let's say you work in a customer service capacity, or, you know, you're supporting a customer service department and you need to analyze a lot of dialogue and text. You're able to do that. Category classification, entity extraction, key phrase extraction, language detection. So if you're processing, you know, documents in a number of different languages, and you need to be able to kind of determine which it is to properly process, that's a possibility. And then text translation. So real quick, we will talk about licensing because it is a little bit different. So it consumes Copilot credits. Previously they were AI builder credits, but now they're consolidating all of that into Copilot credits, which kind of makes things a little bit easier if you're enabling Copilot in your organization. And if you're not, you should, and that's something we can help you with. But can be set up as a pay-as-you-go or as a prepaid capacity packs, depending on your usage and need. Consumption is reset at the first of the month. And usage is when agent flows, apps or flows, it says fun, but I meant run AI Builder. And that can all be tracked in your admin portal. So if you go in the admin portal and you check under capacity, usually under add-ons, you'll be able to see it there. So our steps, so we're going to choose our AI model. We're going to build and train it, and then use it in, we're actually going to use it in a Power App, but you can use it in a Power App or a Power Automate flow. So real quick, before I dive into the demo, if you have any questions, just pop them in the chat and we'll take a look. I'm going to switch screens here real quick. Okay, so I am actually going to just start in our Power Apps homepage. So if you can see here, that's where I'm at. To get to AI Builder, I'm going to navigate to the AI Hub. So before we start, you know, creating a model, we're just going to do a quick tour so you can kind of see what the what's what in here. So here you can see we have prompts. So, you know, prompt writing is a big thing right now. So they have some kind of out of the box ones that you could use, some templates. You could also build your own prompt. And so part of what we'll do after this for the attendance as well is send some links. And so one of the links is we'll send is to create a developer account. Likely your organization might not have these tools enabled in your environment, but under a development or developer account, if you're, you know, want to get in there and start playing around, you can do that. So set that up and then start seeing what's available. And then we have AI models. So I'm going to go to all because there's actually quite a number of kind of templates that are available. So here you see document processing, text recognition, health insurance card processing. They do have a rich number of templates that are available for you to kind of use. Then we'll look at document automation. So here you can, I think contracts would be like a really good use of this. It's navigating to Power Automate, but here you can kind of set up processes. This is more like step by step, step one, step two, kind of extracting that information from whatever document type you have. And if you have particular documents that your organization uses that kind of prompted you to attend today, I'd be really curious to know. I'm always wondering what particular use cases companies have. So here you can see you can set up kind of a workflow to help get that information out of your specific document types. All right. So next we're going to go and we're just going to dive in and build our AI model. First, let's take a look at one I built yesterday. So one thing to note is that when you are training these, it does take a minute. So this one, I only used 5 documents to train the model, but it took about 30 minutes to run and train. So that's kind of why we had to set it up that way. But here you can see what it gives you. It gives you an accuracy score. So here we can see I got a 76 is poor, which tells me that I need to process more documents to help refine my model because I've only used 5. And I actually used Copilot to generate my, fake invoices. So what I did is I asked Copilot, say, hey, can you generate, 20 invoices that have X, Y, and Z pieces of data? And that's what I used to kind of generate these documents. A handy little tip. All right, so now we'll go and we'll create one. Oops, sorry. Okay, so we're going to build a custom model. So here, create custom model. Kind of information we're trying to get out of it. So here is Alpha Corp 123 Main Street. You can see I kind of have a itemized table. Then I have a grand total. I have some relevant information: email, phone, PO number, invoice number, and date. So I'm going to go a general document here because the use cases is I might get templates or I might get invoices from clients that have different layouts. I'm not going to use invoices because there is a number of fields associated with that. And we're only going to train it based on a few pieces because we only have an hour demo. But if you were actually building like a robust invoice process, I would suggest using that one. But for our use case, we're just going to go general so we can quickly get through it. So here I said next. Okay, so choose the information to extract. So I'm going to move this over here so I can see what key pieces of information I have. So I'm going to add a text field, and I'm going to call this one company name, just company. I'm going to add a email. I'm going to add a PO number. I'm going to leave it as a text because if it has PO, I want to grab that. I'm going to grab invoice number. I'm going to grab the date. And then one more, I'm going to grab the total. Okay, so, depending on your process, you'll put whatever you need to extract in here. But we're just going to keep it simple. Okay, so here, I'm going to add a new collection. You need a minimum of 5 examples. But you can see here, add at least 5 examples. Adding up to 20 examples could yield better results. So if I go in and I add my 5, and then I'm getting that 76%, what I would do is go back, add more documents, and continue training my model. Here, I'm just going to grab the first 5 invoices. And upload. Let me make sure you can see if there's anything in the chat. Okay, done. Okay, now I have my documents loaded. The next thing we're going to do is do some initial training on our model. So here you can see I got all my 5 documents. Red dot means I have not done that one yet. When I'm done, I will get a big purple check mark, which is good. But really what we're going to do is just go through and highlight the fields and kind of work on the mapping essentially. So this is my company name. I didn't do address on this one. This is my email. This is my PO number. And now you can see why we only did a handful of fields because we have to do this 5 times. And then date. So now I got a big check mark on that one. That one is good to go. Same thing, rinse and repeat. So you can see here, it kind of does some intelligent highlighting for you. That one, I had to like do a drag and drop, so it got both beta and solutions. That one worked nicely though. Invoice number, my totals down here, and then my date. Same thing for that one, a little drag and drop. Email, PO number. Company. All right, last one. One thing I'll call out too is you can see that there's kind of an itemized table down here. You are able to train the model to, kind of have like subtables, multiple tables. But for our purposes, we don't have time to do that. But that is a capability. Just takes a little more time. Okay, now I have checked off all of my 5 documents. I'm going to hit next. And here you can see it kind of gives me my overall summary. It gives me the model version. So I think with AI changing so rapidly, this is something that, when I'm working on and training these models, I will keep an eye on that. My document sources, and then here you can see I got 5 out of 5. So I'm going to hit train. And here it gives you a little warning. This may take up to 20 minutes to a few hours. You can close this window and come back later. So that is why I had already trained a model. I'll pause here before we kind of dive in how to use it to see if anyone has any questions. So hopefully it's starting to kind of make you think about some of the stuff and the potential capabilities that you can do using this tool. Okay, so I'm going to go into my published one down here. So here you can see there's this like how to use your model, and you have Power Automate and Power Apps as options. So we're actually going to just create a really quick Power App to show you how you can kind of get going using this. I think a really good use case that would lend nicely to using a Power App would be like a receipt processor. So, if you're having to, your dinner receipts, lunch receipts, office supplies, that kind of stuff. Kind of help process that information a lot quicker. See, it's giving us this is a premium component. So anything in the kind of AI builder toolkit is going to be a premium component in Power Apps, which would require premium licensing. But here you can see it kind of gives me this form processor out of the box. And so what this does is if I hit the play mode, and I hit analyze, it gives me a pop-up. So I can select an invoice and upload it. And what it's going to do is, just like an AI builder, highlight those relevant fields, and then we can use them in our app. So I think a good use case for something like this is if, let's say, I mean, you always kind of want to have some human validation, especially when it comes to financials. So what you could do here is, if you had an application, where it would kind of extract all of the information initially, you could have a human take a pass at it and say, yes, yes, yes. Oh, wait, that's actually this company. Quick update before you actually patch it to your source of truth for data. So here you can see we got our little highlights. Just to kind of demonstrate, I'm going to add some text labels so that we can kind of see what information it's actually pulling down. So here, let's go. Gonna put some quick labels on it. All right, so here's how we get our information out of it. Form processor 1. Here you can see you have tables, you have results, you have fields. I think I want results. Yeah, company name. And value. So here, sorry, I'm a sucker for formatting. So here you can see I got company name, Epsilon Enterprises. I'm gonna copy that and add a couple more. All right. See what other things we pulled down. Invoice number. That sounds good. Phone number. Yo. Okay. So the idea being that you could kind of reference back to some of your fields, and we'll make this bigger because it's really small. What it's pulling down. So here I can see I got Epsilon, which is a 99% accuracy. So here you can see analysis performed, 7 fields detected, and it's saying I feel good about this one, 99%. This one a little bit less. So these would really be the 2 fields that I would target when I'm retraining my model with more examples. And so this is our email and our invoice number. And I think the reason why it's doing that, just a side note, is if you take a look at the invoices, it has these pipes afterwards, and I think that's confusing the model, but that is something that you can absolutely train it for. So a use case here would be, you could have a submit button and then patch this data back to a SharePoint list or a database, and kind of work it into whatever existing process you have for, invoice approvals. All right, let's pop back over to our AI builder. And so here, let's take a look at this review full evaluation. So here you can see it gives us this accuracy score of 76%. And it gives you your data distribution and your data sources. Additionally, under here you have fields, and this is where it kind of gives you the breakdown by the field type. So here you can see it's not liking invoice number and it's not liking email. Again, I think it's because of those types, but also, there's additional documentation about how you can improve your model. Yeah. So again, you could also integrate the process into a Power Automate flow. Some quick tests. So for example, if I wanted to upload a document, let's go with a random one. No, 13 is unlucky. Let's go 14. Ideally, what I would do is, if I was doing a production level solution for invoice processing, is I would likely try to find invoices that have different format types. Generally invoices are going to be a somewhat structured document that has a general layout like this, but I would want to find, as many variations of that as I could to help train the model. And with that, I'll pause, see if there's any questions.
Rachel, you have a few questions in the chat window.
Oh, sorry, I just get in my groove, Okay. Ooh. What type of license is best option for credit use? Infinite. I would say the pay as you go. And then I think the benefit to that too is you're really only going to pay for what you need. And I think initially pay as you go is a good option to start because it's going to kind of give you some insight into what your actual usage is and then adjust accordingly. So that would be my recommendation there. Is the way to upload policies to be able to ask how a situation falls within those policies. What I would do is if you have outliers, since this integrates with Power Automate, I would make sure to address those via like a Power Automate workflow, either like a condition branching, or if you need to have, let's say you're processing invoices, for example, and you had, this one has a 99% accuracy score, but this one has a 45, route that one differently so that it takes additional review by like a human, for example, to validate those things. I hope that answered your question. And then, is there a way to know how many AI credits will be consumed or have been consumed when creating the Power Apps? Since not everything in Power Apps would require Gen AI solutions, how can we best optimize costs to avoid spending all our credits with one application? Again, I would recommend that like pay as you go. And so when it is actually starting to consume credits, let me go back to my one slide. Okay, so usage and when agent flows, apps, or flows run AI Builder. And honestly, it would kind of be process to process. I think you would maybe have a ballpark idea how many receipts you're processing in a month or invoices within a month, for example. Yes, so that is whatever the screenshot is, the admin portal. That's how you monitor capacity tab. So to monitor your usage, and again, that resets at the first of every month. You go in the admin portal under capacity, and I believe it's under add-ons. I'm just curious. I always like to ask because as consultants, we're not always we receive requests, but I'm just always curious about different use cases. So if you guys have any like business use cases that you could potentially see AI Builder in your company, feel free to pop them in the chat because I'm mostly just nosy. Oh, thanks, Jonathan. But yeah, any other questions? Anything else we can kind of show you? That was my really quick demo, my introductory session into AI Builder. Again, I think it's nice that they are integrating it's no longer AI Builder credits. Now it's Copilot credits. So, once there's a lot more overlap with AI Builder and agents and, other components in the Power Platform, it kind of simplifies usage on that side. Okay, let me go back. Okay, last call for questions. Okay, if anything sounded interesting or if you have a particular use case that you would like to discuss with Covenant, actually Michelle is going to send out the QR, or she popped the QR code into the chat. Feel free to reach out and we can schedule a 30-minute session and kind of discuss, what's going on and how we can maybe help you guys or get you started.
Thank you, Jen.